Hey guys, my name is Gary Gooseboots, and I'm a passionate WoW player. I've been playing this game on and off since I was a wee little lad on Christmas 2004. It's crazy that this game has been out for most of my life, and as cheesy as it is to say, it feels like it's become a staple. Throughout middle school, high school, college, and now adult life, I still keep on coming back to good old WoW. I've grown and matured as a person, but at the end of the day, I just want to be a guy with a sword who smacks things. Or an orc, or a tauren, or a troll, maybe a dwarf, maybe an undead, but someone who smacks things. Overall, I want to preface that this is not a knock on the classic version of the game, or any other game. It's simply why I like retail WoW. I think the last two expansions have been great, and I hope Blizzard continues down this path. Now that we are getting into the meat and potatoes, I'm just going to be farming bees and wolves for gold on the video. Feel free to just listen and minimize, unless you want to see some aggressively mid solo gold farming. Also, I know my UI isn't great, but I personally like it. The game offers a nice blend of solo and group content. Now, this is an MMO, so grouping with others is to be expected. However, you can make some decent progression completely solo. One method of solo progression is delves. Delves offer a reasonable gearing path that most players take advantage of. I find them fun, and I enjoy tinkering with the different brand setups. They also offer okay gold if you take your undercoins and buy the bags of materials in them that sell in the auction house. Overall, it's been one of my favorite additions to the game in a while. Next, world quests. World quests are not my favorite activity to do, but they give you a decent gold floor. If you do your weekly caches and focus on the world quests that reward gold, you can be making around 10,000 gold a week. Generally, this should cover your weekly consumables. World quests are mostly a solo activity that I'll blast through while listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video too. Personally, for solo gold making, I like killing these big bad bumblebees, and then I skin their sweet, sweet skin. I've felled countless of these stinging beasts. I generally end or start my gaming sessions with about 30 minutes of taking deserved retribution for the bee movie. I find it pretty relaxing, and since my character has been getting more geared, it's fun to overpull and see how many I can take down with me. I know it's more ideal to do this with other players, but I just kind of have it as a fun solo activity to get some gold. Speaking of being optimal, I know it's most optimal just to buy a WoW token. I've done it in the past, but since I started farming my own gold, I've been enjoying the game more. I'm more immersed with the world and my character, and when I buy my consumables or tip crafters, it feels like I earned it. To summarize solo gearing, with a combination of delves and farming gold for materials, you'll be able to get a good set of gear. Your weekly vault and once-a-week Delvers map will get you hero pieces, and you get enough gilded runes to fill out upgrade pieces and craft throughout the expansion. You also have plenty of access to tier slots with the Catalyst. For PvE group content, you have dungeons and raids. For raiding, I previously was a Mythic raider and went decently far. The furthest I went was 7 out of 9 Mythic into Castle Nathria, but lost interest on Sludgefist. What I learned about myself is that I would lose interest if I was focusing too much on precise game mechanics. Due to this, I've been doing mostly heroic level raiding for Dragonflight and War Within. Mythic raiding felt a little too inside baseball for me, and it kinda got away from the core gameplay mechanics that I'm used to and that I like. I enjoy heroic raiding. There are some times I can get overwhelmed by mechanics, but after doing the fight a few times, the muscle memory usually kicks in. I'm currently in a guild that raids 2 hours a week. It's mostly made up of good players who have had their past glory, but we just don't have the time to game like we used to. Sometimes, it can feel like raids have too many mechanics, and at times, I have certainly agreed with that sentiment. But, in recent years, it feels like Blizzard has intentionally made it more simple and accessible, which has been good. I also tend to play the more simple specs that just focus on doing damage, like the Arms Warrior. For Mythic Plus dungeons, I'm also a pretty good average player. I can't really speak about pushing keys to the extreme. I usually go high up enough to get the portals. Like raids, Blizzard has done a good job at making these easier and more accessible. They've removed most of the affixes that add a grocery list of mechanics to your dungeon, so you can just focus on the core dungeon mechanics. To this day, I still wake up in a cold sweat thinking about bursting orbs not being tab targetable. Outside of the actual gameplay mechanics, the group you play with can be a huge hurdle. When I first started getting back into WoW and raiding in Legion, I started on the streets. I pugged AOTC, Tomb of Sargeras, and one fight still lives vividly in my head, Fallen Avatar. The raid leader was a tank who didn't speak English and didn't really know the fight. After we wiped multiple times and went through multiple tanks, one tank joined and noticed what was going on. He made a macro to whisper the raid leader when to taunt in the raid leader's native language. After a bit of trial and error, we did end up downing it. If you can brave the content and the people to do it, group content and socialization is going to provide the best long-term rewards. You'll still want to do the solo content, but as you progress into group content, the rewards will scale higher and they'll be more consistent. For general socialization, people harp on retail for not having enough pressure to socialize and meet people because of how accessible the game is. But to me, personally, after dealing with pugging for a tier, I was pretty done with it. I think you could pug and not really socialize and still make it very far into Mythic raiding and dungeons, if that's really how you want to play. But just as a forewarning, I think you're going to have to sift through some pretty bad experiences compared to just finding a guild or community. It's also a lot easier to win fights with active voice communication in Discord, or at least talking in text. In this video, I've said the word decent or many synonyms for it. I'd like to emphasize that I think it's a good thing. I rarely have a bad time playing this game, and it usually feels like an 8.5 out of 10 for me, which I'll take all day. I've tried quite a few different games, but something about current retail WoW has me coming back and staying satisfied for months at a time. Ultimately, you may not like retail WoW and prefer other games, and that's fine. Everyone has their own preferences and everyone's as valid to themselves, but this is how I feel. I hope you enjoyed the video and my talking points. To wrap it up, retail WoW has a smooth experience that has enough rewards to keep you entertained after a long day dealing with life, or if you want to dig in and eat up a large chunk of time on a quiet weekend. There's a variety of activities to choose from based on your time budget, and if you want to play with others or not. I think retail really shines when looking from this perspective. If you like what I said, I'm starting to stream on Twitch. Feel free to check me out.